I've spent my life on the ocean. Born on the coast, raised on the sound of surf pounding the rocks, the sea always felt like home until last week. Now I hear it breathing when I try to sleep. It was supposed to be a simple solo run. 2 days on my small fishing boat, Marlin's Wake. No crew, no radio chatter, just the quiet pulse of waves and the hum of the engine. Dawn was a smear of pale orange as I left the harbor. The horizon stretched clean and endless. By sunset, I was 50 miles offshore. No land in sight. I cut the engine, letting the boat drift while I checked the nets. That's when I noticed the silence. Not ordinary quiet, complete silence. No gulls, no breeze. Even the waves seemed to hold their breath. The water darkened beneath the hull, turning from deep blue to an inky black. It wasn't the sun, still a thin strip of light on the horizon. This blackness was thick, as if something vast and shapeless hovered just below. A faint vibration traveled up through the deck, a pulse that matched my heartbeat. The smell of ozone stung the air, sharp and metallic. Then the engine died. No sputter, no warning, just dead. I tried the starter. Nothing. The battery indicator flicked wildly, then flatlined. The ocean around me rippled in slow, concentric circles, though no wind touched the surface. From the black water rose a pale mist. It coiled around the boat like smoke. Within it, a shape moved, massive, fluid, impossible to outline. Not a whale, not a shark, something older. I grabbed a flare gun. The red flame hissed to life, casting a trembling glow across the deck. The mist parted. An eye, enormous, lidless, floated just above the surface, reflecting the flare's light. Vertical pupil, color of rotting pearls. I couldn't move. It was studying me. Then the eye sank, and the sea exploded. A column of water erupted beside the boat, drenching me in icy spray. A sound followed, a low, resonant groan, like metal tearing under pressure. The Marlin's Wake rocked violently. Tentacles, slick, black, barbed, slid over the rail, each as thick as my torso. Suckers lined with teeth clamped onto the deck, chewing the wood. Another wrapped the bow, dragging the boat toward the center of the dark ring. I fired the flare gun. The creature shrieked, a sound that vibrated inside my skull. But it didn't retreat. Instead, something larger rose from the depths. A mouth like a spiraling cavern, rimmed with serrated fins. Water poured from it in torrents, carrying the smell of sulfur and blood. The boat tilted. My gear skidded across the slick deck. I clung to the rail as the creature pulled us downward. The ocean swallowed the last sliver of sunset. Under the surface, the world turned black and silent again. Pressure crushed my ears. The hull creaked like it would snap. Then came the whisper, not a voice exactly, more like thought scraped across bone. "You came alone," I screamed, bubbles tearing from my throat. I woke on the beach at dawn, soaked in salt and blood. The Marlin's Wake was gone. No debris, no sign I'd ever left shore. In my palm lay a single blackened scale, slick with seawater and faintly warm. When I hold it, I hear the distant groan of something ancient shifting beneath the waves. I haven't gone near the ocean since, but every night, as the tide rises, I smell ozone and hear a low vibration under the floorboards. It's waiting, and it knows I'm still alone. I'm writing this because the ocean still calls my name, and because Emma never came back. We were newlyweds, drunk on salt air and freedom. A private charter, just the two of us and a small crew, skimming across the Caribbean under a moon so bright it painted silver fire on the waves. I remember thinking the night smelled alive, warm and electric, like it had a heartbeat. Around midnight, the captain anchored near a remote cove. The crew slept below. Emma and I stayed on deck, wrapped in a blanket, whispering about the life ahead of us. The sea was calm enough to hear our own breathing. Then, the calm died. A low tremor rolled through the hull, subtle at first, like distant thunder beneath the water. The ocean around us turned slick and dark, reflecting no stars. The air grew heavy and metallic. Every hair on my arms stood upright. Our phones lost signal simultaneously, screens flickering, then black. The yacht's lights flickered too, casting the deck into strobe-lit shadows. Emma gripped my hand. "Earthquake?" she asked. Before I could answer, a deep bong, like a church bell struck underwater, echoed from below. The sound vibrated in my teeth. From the cove's center, a perfect circle of water bulged upward, spinning counterclockwise. No splash, just a smooth, rising dome. It kept growing until it towered over the yacht, black as volcanic glass. The crew stumbled up from their bunks, faces drained of blood. One tried the radio, static. Another reached for the engine ignition, dead. The dome split. Inside was not water, but void. A cavernous mouth rimmed with jagged, bioluminescent spines. The smell of sulfur and rotting kelp poured out, making my eyes sting. Something moved within. A mass of limbs, too many, bending wrong, unfurled like a nightmare, unfolding in slow motion. A single tendril, thick as a mast and slick with glowing algae, whipped across the deck. It smashed the wheelhouse in one strike, splintering wood like matchsticks. The yacht lurched violently, screams vanished into the roar of the sea. Another tendril coiled around Emma's waist. I lunged, grabbing her arms. Her eyes were wide, pupils blown, reflecting that unholy blue light. The tendril tightened, lifting her effortlessly. "Don't let go!" she screamed. I didn't, until the suction tore her from my grasp. Her fingernails raked bloody lines down my wrists as she was yanked into the black mouth. The creature dove, dragging the yacht downward. Cold water surged over the deck, numbing my skin. Pressure crushed my chest. My ears rang like sirens. Through the chaos, a voice slid into my skull, smooth, ancient, and final. "One remains." The world went silent. I awoke at dawn on a deserted beach, alone. No yacht, no crew, only Emma's wedding ring pressed into my palm, its gold warped and warm. The Coast Guard found no wreckage. They told me it was a storm surge, a freak whirlpool. But at night, when the tide creeps high, I hear that bell-like bong beneath the waves and smell sulfur in the breeze. Sometimes I swear I feel a slick tendril slide across my ankle. The ocean hasn't finished with me, and I know it's waiting for the second half of the exchange. I've fished these waters for 50 years. The sea has always been my livelihood, my solace, and sometimes my only friend, but now it knows me by name, and it wants me. The morning I left, the harbor slept under a gray sky. My old trawler, Evelyn, groaned as I pushed off, the wood creaking like tired bones. No one else was out. The weather forecast promised calm, but the air had a strange bite. Metallic, like pennies left in salt. By noon, I was 30 miles offshore, lines set, the horizon a perfect circle of blue. I should have felt peace. Instead, I sensed something coiled beneath the calm, waiting. Around dusk, the wind died. Completely, the water flattened into an unnatural mirror reflecting the bruised sky. My radio hissed with static, then fell silent. The compass needle spun, lost. Then the smell hit. Brine mixed with rot, sharp enough to burn the throat. I pulled up the nets, empty, but the ropes were wet, slick with a black mucus that shimmered faintly as if lit from inside. A ripple broke the mirrored surface. Another. Then a slow swell lifted the boat as though something immense passed beneath. I leaned over the gunwale, squinting into the deep. An eye opened, not a fish's eye, far too large and filled with a dull, milky light. It blinked sideways, the lid sliding like a curtain of pale flesh. I stumbled back, heart pounding. The water around the boat began to churn, silent but violent, spinning the Evelyn in place. From the depths came a soundless surge. A shape, colossal, formless, rose just enough to break the surface. I saw scales blacker than midnight and spines that shimmered green like decayed copper. Tentacles as thick as masts unfurled, glistening with that same eerie mucus. Each sucker ringed with tiny teeth, clicked in anticipation. One slid across the deck, leaving a trail of sizzling brine. Where it touched, the wood smoked. I grabbed the harpoon gun. My hands shook, but I fired. The harpoon vanished into the creature's hide with a wet thunk. No roar, no flinch, only a low vibration that rattled my ribs. A single tentacle wrapped the hull and tightened. The Evelyn groaned, timbers snapping like dry twigs. Water gushed across the deck. Another tentacle coiled around my waist. Its touch burned icy cold, a cold that felt alive. I hacked at it with my fishing knife. The blade barely scratched the slick surface. The boat tilted, the sea swallowing the rail. Stars vanished behind a rolling wall of black water. Then, inside my skull, a whisper bloomed. "Old one, you've taken enough from us." The depths. The tentacle yanked. I plunged into darkness. Salt crushed my lungs. Pressure hammered my skull. Still that whisper guided me downward, deeper than light. Shapes drifted past. Bones of whales, hulls of ships, faces of sailors long dead, eyes open and glowing faintly. At the edge of consciousness, I saw its full form. A mass of endless limbs coiled around a glowing abyss, a mouth that wasn't a mouth, breathing the ocean itself. It studied me. I woke at dawn, sprawled on the empty dock, clothes stiff with dried salt. The Evelyn was gone. No wreckage, no driftwood, nothing. In my pocket lay a single object. A scale the size of my palm, black and faintly warm, pulsing like a slow heartbeat. Now, every night, when the tide creeps high, I hear the creak of phantom timbers outside my window. The sea whispers my name with each wave, and I know it's not finished.